Okay, video 11 for the evolution series. As I said in the last video, we're going to talk about Darwin's finches. And so what he was able to see was with Darwin's finches, they were still talking about on the Galapagos Islands. He found these small songbirds called finches. He studied their feeding habits and quickly realized that there was a connection between the type of food they ate and their beak size and shape. So their resource, food, and their beak size, their adaptation, and their shape adaptation, they dictated their role in the environment as to what they ate. And so what he noticed was, he said he had large beaks, small beaks, thin beaks, thick beaks, got a whole mess of beaks in there. So, but the shape of the beak, which we're going to see in another slide here, if I'm able to actually get there. Hold on. Okay, so we're back and we're seeing now a morphological difference or a physical shape and size difference of our beaks. And so what we'll find is an insect eater that feeds in the trees, and we'll find another one here that used probing. It actually took the stick and it would probe into cactus to get insects. And then we find this one here is also an insect eater, feeds in trees. And we also find, if I can scroll down here, there we go. And this one was pretty interesting. I mean, in comparison of the shapes of beaks, this one makes me think of a parrot. Anyways, a seed-eating finch. So you can see by the shape of the beak, it would allow them to go and do different things. So that adaptation would change their... So by having their different types of eating behavior, they were able to form their own niches, and they could specialize, increase their fitness, and with increased fitness have reproduction over and over again by more and more of their children sharing this characteristic. It became more pronounced over time, and over time they became their own species. So this is pretty interesting stuff, I think. Good evidence of niches, role specialization, and competition driving these morphological changes over time through heredity. And that's what we're going to call fitness. All right, sweet Harriet. I think this is so cool. First of all, this is Harriet, the Galapagos tortoise. Darwin didn't only kill animals and take them, he tried to take live animals as well. Harriet survived the trip with him. She was, they aged her at 5 years old when Darwin took her from the Galapagos. So at 5 years old, she starts her journey from Galapagos back to England. And Harriet lived with Darwin as a pet. Then she lived in the Australian zoo that was owned by Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter. I always liked that guy. He was such a great guy. His care for animals and conservation is pretty amazing. Ironic how he got taken out by a stingray. That's another story. Anyway, so Harriet lived to be 176 years old. She died in 2006. And 176 years old. Man, the things she saw. If she could only talk. Anyways, so that's Harriet. So I think that's a nice, cool little aside. Okay, when Darwin returned back to England, people had never seen a lot of the organisms he brought back, so it made a lot of interest. And so he had to send out a lot of his species, and he had such a large collection he needed help. And so over time, he started to piece together some of the evidence for which the mechanisms under which he thought evolution was happening. Okay, so for the categories that Darwin used to develop his theories are comparative anatomy. We have homologous chromosomes. Those are structures that are passed on through ancestry. They could look the same, but might function a little different. We can also look at like a bird and a bat. They're not really the same lineage, but their form and function, their use of their forelimb allows for flight, and so you might put this two together pretty quickly. We have vestigial organs. Those are organs oftentimes like our appendix. It doesn't really have any function. It's kind of a remnant of our common ancestor. We don't really have any use of it anymore, and it can just hurt us. But anyways, there's a vestigial, and we'll pick up with the rest of these in a moment because I'm running out of time.